Hi, it's Michelle from Honest and Truly, and today we're in my kitchen. This time we're going to make a special treat that I love to do with kids. We're making Mickey Mouse ear pretzels. Now tell me, making homemade soft pretzels doesn't sound a little bit intimidating to you. Gotta tell you though, it's incredibly easy, doesn't take a whole lot of time, and is so much fun and so tasty. So come on, let's check out how we do it. Sometimes when you're making bread dough or pretzel dough, you feel like your dough is never going to come together. Don't give up. Keep mixing it in your mixer or kneading it if you're doing it by hand. You may need to turn off your mixer and have it come together a little bit, just flipping it over and then putting it back together. But if you keep kneading it, you will find that within about 5 minutes, and often quite less, your dough will come together beautifully, and suddenly it will have that soft baby's bottom feel that you've been looking for. Then you can move on to the next step. So now you'll see that the dough is really going around with the mixer in a nice ball. This is when it's time to turn off your mixer and go ahead and check it. So we will pull up the dough hook and just kind of feel our dough. And you'll notice that it feels smooth and soft, and to be honest with you, the best way I can describe it is it feels shiny. And I know that that's not really a usual feel kind of word, but that's the way that I would describe it. So we'll remove our dough hook, and then we're going to let this rise for about an hour to an hour and a half until this is doubled in size. All we're going to do to keep our dough from drying out is get a damp towel, not wet, just a little bit damp, and place it over it like that. The moisture from the towel will keep the dough from drying out, and the little bit of heat will also help it rise so that it's beautiful when we're ready for our next step. So good news, we've got about an hour gone by, and you can see how much our dough has risen. The next step we have is to actually take our dough and form it into the pretzels. So let's move this out of the way. And what I really want to do is make sure that my pretzels are all equal size. I want them to be about 3.4 ounces because I figured out that when I make the dough, that is how big they are. So I'm going to pull my dough out of my bowl, and what I'm going to use to cut it is actually a bench scraper. And then I'm going to use my handy dandy little wing to make sure that I'm getting everything to be the right size. So I know it's kind of about that big. Just cut it off, put it on here, and I've got 3.2 ounces. Wonderful. Now we have all 12 of our pieces of pretzel that we're going to use to make them. Next step is to actually form them into pretzels. If I were doing a regular pretzel, I would take this and I would roll this out into a rope and then make the U shape. However, I'm going to make Mickey Mouse pretzel ears today, which means I'm going to have it kind of in a circle. And as I'm going around, I'm going to grab a lump of dough to kind of make one ear. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Stretch out my circle just a little bit to make sure that it's even, so I don't have a huge clump of dough on one part and nothing on another part. And one thing I've kind of figured out from this is you want your ears to stick up a little bit more even than you expect you would want to from the way that a regular Mickey Mouse ear would look. And just kind of like this. And then we're going to set it onto a baking pan that has been greased and has a Silpat on top of it. This is what we're going to use to store them for right now, and then they're also going to be baked on this. So we're going to do the same exact thing for each one of our 12 pretzels that we have made. Now yes, you could take this and you could roll these out, and you could make them with little balls for ears, or you could flip them around. However, I have found that the easiest way to get these to stay together and to actually look like good Mickey Mouse ears is just to do this. It's cheating, but you know what? Sometimes cheating is the best solution. I will also tell you that as you're making these, you can fit about 6 Mickey Mouse ears per cookie dough sheet. So if you're making 12 of these, which is what we're doing with our recipe, you want to make sure that you have 2 pans prepared to do this. And we're done. With your ears, you do kind of want to make sure that they're kind of poke down a little bit so that they are well defined after you've baked. But now we're ready for our next step. So here is our boiling baking soda water. All I'm going to do is carefully place this in, and it's just going to sit here for about 30 seconds. About halfway through that point, I'm going to go ahead and use my spider, which is this handy dandy kitchen tool. All it does is just lift stuff out when you're baking it, cooking it, especially if you're frying in oil. You can find them in Asian markets as well as a lot of whole other places as well. And then you're going to take this, you're simply going to flip your little guy over, let him finish cooking, and then put him back onto your baking sheet that is already prepared. Do this with each one of your pretzels, and then it will be time to bake them. And the last thing we're going to do before we pop these little beauties in the oven is to give them an egg wash and make sure we've got just a little bit of pretzel salt on there. All I did here was just take an egg yolk and about a tablespoon of water and whisk it together, and I'm just going to take a pastry brush and just brush the tops of my pretzels with this. This is going to give them kind of that nice shiny coating that we want, as well as giving it a beautiful golden brown color that is so typical of your pretzels. So we're going to do this for each one, and once those are all complete, you simply take just a little bit of pretzel salt, sprinkle on as little or as much as you like, and really, they taste so good by themselves, they don't need all that much pretzel salt, and then you're good to go. Enjoy your pretzels when they come out of the oven. You're going to bake these at 450 degrees for about 12 minutes, and you will be all set with some beautiful golden brown deliciousness. 12 minutes later, we have these beauties fresh from the oven. So here we are. We've got our Mickey Mouse ears. And how super cute are these, right? They're super fun, super easy, and incredibly yummy. Tell me this is something that you're not now going to go to the movie theater and buy those frozen pretzels that they try to pass off. These are so much better, so much tastier, and so much better for you. Plus, how much fun is this? These were truly the hit of my Disney party, and I gotta say, I'm making these again and again and again, because Mickey, he just keeps disappearing. What do you think? Leave me a comment below, and then go ahead. If you like this, subscribe to my YouTube channel so you don't miss out on any more fun.